Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. This YouTube channel is dedicated to Bannerlord and everything Bannerlord related, and we have another battle today, surprise surprise, for this episode, right? We're not going to be doing any smithing, there won't be any raiding of some hideout. We are going to have a huge fucking battle here against Valian. Now, I'm specifically fighting in this area because people wanted to see a battle in the forest. So my army here is pretty stacked. We were actually heading to defend a local city in this area. I knew there would be a good chance of a forest battle. So here we go. We've got some weak troops at the bottom of our roster, but that rarely slows down our army here. Of course, we have our 40 elite companions, and we have about 250 tier 5 units for this fight. Now let's see, I thought I had a couple of upgrades, but I won't bother your time with that. So let's take a look at this Valian force. There's actually two forces here. It's the King Arthibald or whatever the fuck, and Davelbard. This guy's got a potent army, like 84 banner knights, 37 sharpshooters. He's basically stacked, at least as strong as our army as far as quality. Where's this other guy? Let's see, here, the easiest way to show you is to go up to here. Here's the king, and here's his army. Look at this fucking army. And I've never seen an army outside of using these mods, right? 94 banner knights, 234 sharpshooters. Basically, his entire army is tier 5. Now, the only way that happens, I think, is if you use the mod, I think it's Lord Retinue Upgrade, and that is listed in the video description. Check that out if you want to face tougher enemy armies. If you're tired of facing peasants, that mod's for you. Alright, so as I said before, people have wanted to see a tactical battle in the forest, so we're going to do a little bit of stumbling and staggering around here in the forest and try to do the best we can. Now, I want to run 3 cav divisions because one thing we're going to use in the forest is we're going to use cavalry both to block arrows, but also to lead the way for our shock troops. I'm going to lead the 8th Corps. My whole fucking screen of perks, of course, with my level 50 whatever 4 character. And I think we're going to try a 2-flanked assault here on the Valians. If they're defensive, that'll make it even harder, and given they have, what, a 200 and something sharpshooters, more than that, they're probably going to play defensively. So we're going to try a 2-pronged approach here, and to make this easier from a memorization standpoint, and I'm looking at this, I don't like this at all. My skirmisher division doesn't have very many shields at all. In a shield wall, even I have to get them really tightly packed here to have shields at the front row. So it's even more of a reason for us to use cavalry and a shield wall out in front to protect these guys. The 1st Corps is a little bit better, but the shields are, they're kind of hit and miss. I just don't have a lot of units with shields in this battle. But that means I have a lot of shock troops, and we do have cavalry, so we'll lead the way with cav and a shock and shield strategy. We're going to have 2 different wings here, and to memorize this easier, I'm going to divide the wings into odd, and even. I'm going to have the 7th and 8th Corps. These are horse archers, and my elite 8th Corps follow me. And then I'm going to have 2 different sides, 2 different wings of our army. We're going to have the 1st, 3rd, and 5th on one side, and the 2nd, 4th, and 6th on the enemy's flank. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, we have the odd numbers over here on the left. We're going to stretch these guys out. And then the even numbers will hold the center. The 2nd is heavy cav. Those guys will protect archers, the 4th. And then the shock troops and skirmishers in the 6th will be behind the 2nd cav. Hopefully all that makes sense to you. It's not easy to narrate these battles, fight them at the same time, command 8 units, and then not stumble around with just gibberish for narration. If I'm not highly caffeinated, the next thing I know, I'm so my narration falls to shit. Still, we could still throw javelins here and smoke the enemy lords. These stupid assholes thought that they could just come out here. Well, the kiddie game's down the street, boys. Down you go. 3 against 40. Not even that I needed to use our 8th Corps here. Everybody, in fact, is on hold fire because in a potential archery duel like this, and it looks like they're holding back. Look, they're going up the hill. Arrows and ammunition are at a premium, right? You will run out of arrows, and the enemy is indeed entrenching up that hill. You motherfuckers. I fucking hate forest battles, and I hate entrenched enemies. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start to flank the enemy, and then once we are in reasonable range, 160 or so, we will open fire. Additionally, we will keep an eye on their 2 cav wings. It looks like they have 88 and 89. They have large cav wings. Of course, Valian fucking heavy knights are no fun to deal with either. sharpshooters also have a longer range, in my opinion, than any other archer, so they're already shooting us. But they're also going to do minimal damage at this range. We're not going to open fire until we can see the proverbial whites of the enemy's eyes. Alright, so like I said, our center's being held down here by the 2nd, 4th, and 6th, and we're going to start moving these guys in. This is a systematic surrounding of this fucking insolent, defensive, pussy enemy. You guys just keep on hiding up on your ridge. Ain't going to help you. Now you see how tight I'm making the 6th. That's because I want it right behind this thick wall of horse meat. Get up there, 2nd Horse, and guard those skirmishers and shock troops. Alright, so we're going to continue to tighten in the net here. I find defensive enemies generally easier to beat, although it takes a methodical approach, it takes patience, and you have to watch for counterattacks, right? It looks like their cavalry wings are kind of antsy. They're sort of moving back and forth. I'm watching the distances, and if all of a sudden they attack, we'll be ready for them, right? We'll counter with the 7th and 8th, we'll stand them up with our horse cav divisions, and then we'll open fire. The rest of their army looks like it's literally running up the hill like they're routing. Now, this army was running from me, and so we're compelled to attack it. Even though we were outnumbered here, evidently they didn't like their chances, and so they were running to the local settlement here. Okay, here come their cav. So we open fire here. Right, this is a perfect scenario for us just to light these guys up. You see the arrows just wasting them. They're stuck on our horse. They're stuck on our infantry, and the screen is just packed with death. This is suboptimal strategy. If you're going to turtle at the top of the hill like the enemy's doing there, they should never send the heavy horse in by themselves. These guys are fighting like the script to Braveheart. Send the horse. Full attack. My lord, shouldn't we use combined unit attacks? Negative. I'm a stupid fucking English lord on, being written for Hollywood film. This is their king right now. This guy right in front. Let's kill this guy. 287 and he didn't die. So that tells you how strong that motherfucker is. He's basically artificially enhanced. Jesus Christ, there's so many of the enemy's horses, they're in my way here. Kill the horses next time, fellas. Alright, so we just vaporized one of their cav wings. I see the other one over there is sort of skirmishing as well, and it's being vaporized. Now, their infantry is rushing towards us here. I'm not quite certain why they're doing that. They were entrenched, and now they're running downhill at us. This is a very bad decision. Now, there's 122 guys here, so we're going to surround it. These guys literally just walked right into a trap. I'm following here at the 8th Corps. We're just simply doing this to knock their formation around, disrupt them a little bit, because I'm calling over the 6th and 4th. That's the skirmisher division and archers from the other side. We're going to trap these guys. You can see I'm kiting here with the 5th, 1st, and 3rd. Right, this side, this wing, we're just basically moving back, and I'm moving back my infantry here in a shield wall, because we're going to press this shield wall against this enemy assault, and then collapse on it with the 6th. They continue to come in, although their numbers are already grievously reduced. It was 110, then it was 70, now it looks like it's 60. Oh no, it's 104, I'm sorry, I got the numbers, I was looking at something else. Alright, so we're going to continue to kite these boys here. Here they come, a nice big armored division. It looks like they're running and drying concrete. They're really slow here. We'll continue to move back as we bait these guys in, because I know behind me the 6th is coming in. Alright, here's the 2nd cav. We'll position them defensively in front of the enemy, and we're going to lead with the shield and shock approach. The 4th archers get spread out, and the 6th division gets sent in behind these guys while we hold them up with the shield wall. They're basically smashed in an infantry vice here. We'll have these infantry retreat further, right? These guys are basically getting lured further and further in. But at this stage, it's not going to matter. We have enfilade with our other archer division there. Here comes the 6th. I don't even know if these guys are going to get many kills. The enemy's got a few kills, but they've been basically swallowed up here. The 6th comes in behind them, and nothing's going to escape this. All of their troops are dead meat. I see throwing weapons flying all over the place. Don't forget my 6th is the skirmishers, so they were firing javelins that whole time. And the Valandians here are allowing themselves to be fought in detail. In detail, I try to mention this here and there. In detail is essentially when you fight the enemy and you attack their divisions one at a time. Well, usually it takes a lot of tactics. It takes a lot of maneuvering and strategy and tactics to do that, because the enemy in a perfect world would never let you do that. Here in this case, the AI, or short for artificial imbecility, has purposefully fought us in detail. First they sent their cav to get massacred, then we destroyed their crossbow is charging, and it looks like it's charging in piecemeal. Well, I like to bring you tactics and dynamic shit here, but this is some of the worst fighting I've ever seen the AI perform. They're charging with crossbow. I don't know what the fuck is going on here. And they charged our infantry. So these guys all just died. They can kill my horse, that's fine. These guys are literally soon-to-be dead sharpshooters. No idea what these guys are doing, other than getting torn apart. And this is half of their force now. They suicided their cav, they suicided their infantry by themselves, and then they charged with their crossbow. I mean, SMH, right? To use the abbreviation of our time, shaking my fucking head. Alright, well, we might as well move in for the kill here. Let's move up infantry divisions hard on both flanks. Let's get the archers spread out, and let's see what we can flank here with the 8th Corps. I'm following up with heavy cav. Trample a few guys here. Their archers are so spread out, there's actually no target really to concentrate our forces on. They're like in a wide spread, which will help them survive a little bit longer, but they have no chance of winning a battle fighting like that. Fighting spread out. We'll let our infantry and archers just mow them down. One of the most important things of Bannerlord is concentrating your firepower, and having your archers spread out like 100 feet between each of them is the worst thing you can possibly do. None of the guys can support each other, half the archers can't shoot, they're too far away, and now their infantry's suiciding here again. So the enemy had elite troops here. It's still tier 5 units, right? We're to the 3rd or 4th phase of this battle, but they're fighting like tier 1 troops. This is like a bunch of guys at Princeton or something like that who can't spell the difference between they are and there. This is embarrassing. So we're going to wade in on the rest of this troop, but at this stage it's really not going to matter. The enemy has fought like the JV here. We're moving up infantry and shield wall. Look at my own guy, he's just standing there. Whatever you do, don't swing your fucking weapon, dude. This fucking palace guard on our side just kept walking while he was getting skewered. Sometimes your own troops, of course, are vulnerable to the artificial imbecility. Be careful. Let me show you these guys how to fucking fight. Get in here and fucking cut people apart. You gotta juke. When they're about to shoot you, fucking move. Don't just stand there. Alright. Now they're down to like tier 4 units. We're going to continue to wade through this force here. And alas, I can't really show you incredibly dynamic tactics here because our opponent was so feeble, they embarrassed themselves here. We got a few feeble infantry chasing after me. Get the fuck out of here. Fucking dipshit. We're pushing cav up here, basically to act as a distraction so all these archers don't shoot our shock troops. Right? That's the shock and shield approach I talk about all the time. And you might lose some cav, but if your shock troops arrive at the enemy, it doesn't matter. Right? All of a sudden, all your angry two-handed guys are just fucking destroying everything in sight, swinging a weapon just like me, and the enemy tends to vaporize. And you lose some cav, sure. Right? That's just an inevitability. We're still fighting tier 4 and tier 5 units. But you're gonna plow through troops. How did he block that? His fucking shield was facing the other way. Get off. Now they're down to peasants and tier 4 or tier 2 units. This enemy, a sad attempt today by the Valandians. Of course, our tactics are fairly advanced at this stage, right? I would say probably a little bit more than fairly advanced, fellas. I admit. But this opponent here was not really an opponent at all. And This is not quite what I was hoping for. I was hoping that they would fully on turtle at the top of the hill, and we would have to take a very different approach to rooting them out of their position. We were going to flank from multiple sides, attack from behind with cav. That guy just got trucked. Attack from behind with cav and then envelop them. But it never really manifested here because the enemy's AI basically suicided itself. Suicided itself. There's your genius statement of the day. Suicide is to kill oneself. I guess you cannot suicide yourself. All right. The artificial imbecility is contagious. Just like idiocracy, playing this kind of an AI makes me actually dumber here. All right, so we suffered 140 losses. Given the strength of their army, that's actually fine. Given how bad they fought, I actually expected a better result than that, but that's fine. And we'll see now if we have another battle here. There was another large force of Valandia that was gathering south of us, and maybe they'll hear the screams of the Valandians that we just massacred and come to their aid. So this might be back-to-back battles. Don't go anywhere if you're just about to leave. And sometimes this happens, and of course the episode ends. And I apologize. I do narrate these live, on the fly, and sometimes I'm not always coherent, just like suiciding yourself. All right, a bunch of worthless loot here. We'll give that EXP to the peasants, and we'll see if the rest of the Valandians here want some action. It does appear so. At least, if anything, I'm pretty sure we can make these guys fight. They're all pouring in here. Well, it's your time to die there, Baron and Bard. Come get some. All right, we're outnumbered worse than 2-1. It's almost 3-1. But never fear. We've got high-end companions. Look at this gal here. I overloaded some of these with units before these battles started. I went to a castle and loaded up. That way we had a sizable force to take on the Valandians. She has 57 Battanian Fiend Champs. Evidently, they didn't even see battle in that last episode. And as you can see, most of my units are healthy. We have 6 wounded. So most of the wounded actually came from the other army. And of course, we'll use normal player damage for this second battle. Now let's see what happens here. It's going to be, we'll do a few upgrades here. It's going to be in the dark this time. So maybe it'll be a little hard to see. We shall see. I try to play these kind of raw, as if I was streaming. There may be a day where I'm streaming down the road, and so I want to get sort of used to playing and maneuvering in the live action, so to speak. All right, I got some hills here to work with. It's very likely because they attacked us and they outnumber us so badly that they're going to come to us, right? That we now get to play the defender in the forest. And so what I look for in a forest is hills, and I look for blocks of trees to be able to fall back into, right? Blocks of trees will slow down heavy cav charges. It'll give you a little bit of cover from archers. It definitely makes it easier as a defensive player in the trees. Now, I have a real dearth of cavalry here, and that's probably a consequence of that first battle of sort of sacrificing the cav, sending them forward. We have a lot of archers, a fair amount of infantry, and hardly any cavalry. So we're going to definitely have to fight in a defensive, ranged battle type attack here. Still, I have some 8th Corps guys. I've got 12 elite cav left in that 8th Corps. We'll use them for sure to bear the brunt of enemy cav charges. And we still have a good amount of infantry in 2 or 3 rank deep to slow down enemy cav charges for our skirmishers and archers to unseat these knights. Not quite nighttime. It's kind of like a pretty sunset here. But look at this hill. Right? Anytime you have a hill like this, you definitely want to use it. There's a little ridge here, kind of right where the enemy is going to come into a pocket here where we can extend this 5th Division. I see a lot of Battanian Fiend Champs in there, and we're probably going to need it, right? The enemy's probably going to have an enormous amount of high-tier units themselves. That Lord Retinue upgrade mod that I was talking about, I highly recommend it for experienced players. What it basically does is it changes the rate at which enemy lords' troops upgrade. Most people who've played Bannerlord long enough know that as you wander the map, you literally gain EXP for your characters. I guess you're telling them war stories or reading to them fucking, you know, from amazing books and shit like that from military history. But ultimately, what this mod does is it dramatically speeds up that EXP gain, so that all of a sudden the enemy lords have massively high-tiered armies. Right? No more peasant armies. They have banner knights galore, sharpshooters. They had like 300 and something last battle, and that'll definitely increase the difficulty for you. Even though the AI still is mediocre to dog shit. It kind of depends on the day. Some day it operates mediocre, like in a decent manner. A lot of days it's dog shit though. This is not great either. Their infantry is running right between our two infantry blocks. So we're going to put one in a square and attack with the other one. This is suicide. They basically ran right. They put their hand right between the vice. So I'm calling one infantry division over. We're calling one archer division and a cav unit over. We're sending in the 8th Corps. That square will not be penetrated by the enemy. If they're dumb enough to attack that, they're just going to die without a kill. And since they're now coming to us, we'll have them attack. So infantry is now attacking the infantry that's charging us from behind. It's a very bad situation for the enemy. They've got a handful of guys here kind of in the middle. That'll be easy to wrap up, but again, kind of like the first battle, because our positioning, the multiple flanks, the enemy AI basically suicided. It ran directly in between them, and you can see the death spam, right? They got immolated. Some of their units are pulling back, probably trying to reform. Not many of them are going to make it. You can't really regroup when there's 150 archers shooting at you and 60 or 70 are Battanian Fiends. There's no retreat from that. You get killed. They got some dipshits coming up here. 5 at a time. I don't know what they're doing. Alright, we'll bring our cav back here, we'll set up our defensive lines, and we'll assess for the next wave. Basically, the enemy, again, just like the first battle, they suicided their infantry, suicided their cav here. It's almost like the enemy hates fighting in the forest more than we do, and just wants to get the battle over with as soon as possible, win or lose. Fucking dipshit knight in here by himself. What is this? There's a lord in here yelling orders. And he gets trucked. Forward! Move forward! Oh, it just gets fucking trucked. What a stupid asshole. So all I'm doing here is putting shield walls in front of our archers to help absorb some enemy arrows. They are shooting at us a lot. But if there's a bunch of guys with shields in front of them, obviously those shields and those knights and whatnot are going to absorb a lot of arrows. So this is horse archers. We'll open fire on these fucks. These dumb bitches here that came roaring in on our side here. And I'll jump on a horse here since it was getting shot. And we'll take out the rest of these gals here. It's just withering fire, and now we'll hold fire because we don't need them firing 9,000 arrows at 12 cavalry. Alright, the enemy has another cav wave coming up. It's kind of coming in a pathetic, slow manner. Come on in. They're not getting through these 2 infantry lines and our heavy cav line. Let's drag the 8th around. Let's attack these guys from the side. We'll let them, a handful of them are kind of confronting us, but this is going to allow us to wrap in behind the enemy where they don't have shields, and then just start cutting down lords, cutting down banner knights. This is going to be quick work of this wave. Again, just like the first battle, and these are the kind of episodes I actually hesitate to upload when the AI acts so bad that it's just a green screen of death massacre across the whole board. Like the only reason to upgrade is that pretty sunset because the enemy here is just a non-factor. They're coming in here 1 division at a time, getting eviscerated on our meat grinder of an army, and then the enemy kind of trembles and has an epileptic fit, and then the next thing you know, the next wave comes in because they've regained their courage. It's kind of distressing sometimes because we're badly outnumbered here. The enemy has good troops. The enemy has mods that make it stronger, and they're just withering away like fucking leaves in a strong gale. I saw that motherfucker coming at me with his couch lance. Fucking asshole. They still got a banner light. It's another guy who's forward. I fucking love it when they call out commands and they get shot or stabbed in the face. Die, you! It's like my favorite part. All right. These 25 or so pathetic cavalry are trying to gear themselves up with a few war cries, but they might as well siege the gates of hell. Time to start spreading our units around. The rest of their forces, even though they attacked us, are in an insolent, tight defensive ball. They're not really even making any attack. I don't see any bolts. They might have expended all their bolts already at fucking 500 yards range, right? Some more artificial imbecility. And we're going to surround them. We'll wait till we have proper distancing on the enemy here, and then we're going to destroy these vanguards. I say vanguard because they still have elite troops. They just reformed repeatedly. They got sharpshooters and whatnot over there. They've managed. Look at this guy. Yeah, I'll take your horse. Come on in. I needed a taxi, thanks. The enemy like delivers. It's like Uber rides, Bannerlord style. All right, we'll systematically move our archers in here. We're going to have a little bit of an angle on the enemy here so we can shoot with shields aren't covering them. And then we'll open fire. I think we'll also do some distracting here with cav. We don't have enough cav to really assault them, but what we can do is frighten them, turn their formations a little bit, and cause some carnage. If you can do that while your units are opening fire, it causes additional death. You can hear an occasional guy getting shot over here, but at this range, they're just not going to do major damage to us. This 4th Corps will, though. They're 110 units away. And now they have a little bit of an angle on the enemy. And watch the difference. You don't see any enemy death spam. Watch our spread out death spam. It's hitting these guys on the side over here. I'm going to try to cause some carnage here. And even though they're holding their shields up very defensively, they're still getting smoked. And of course they can't attack me. None of those guys could shoot at me because as soon as they draw a bow, they get killed. So let's do what I was talking about earlier. Let's take a cav division here. This is the 8th Corps, and I've got a couple smaller divisions, i.e. Reed, like 2 guys. And we're just going to drive into the side of the enemy here at the same time as we open fire. If the enemy's getting jostled around by heavy cav while they're being shot, really bad things tend to happen to them, right? It knocks guys around, their shield wall starts to become a little inefficient, and the death spam from that is much more pronounced. Alright, you can actually see their formation, like trying to turn to deal with us. What that does is it leaves guys exposed. I see guys getting lit up already. These guys are facing the other way as the arrows, and we're just going to come in for a real quick hit and run, right? We're just coming in to hit them hard, and then we'll run our way through. And we scored probably 30, 40, 50 kills there with a couple volleys. Archers, loose formation! So I think now they're reforming again for another round of reinforcements. It's a pretty standard tactic. Yeah, you can see them running back there. They've got another little pathetic cav wave here. What is this, 60? They got like 100 heavy cav here. I hesitate to call them heavy cav now because these are probably going to be like the middle tier cav. We've already massacred their banner knights and whatnot. Yeah, these guys are not heavy cav. These guys are fodder, cannon fodder. We'll give them a volley or 2 here just because we don't need our archers trampled. You can see them just getting fucking shot off their mounts left and right. Now, I'll actually take the brunt here, and we got speared. I'm happy to get in front of our archers here with our cav division because it slows the enemy down and it leaves our archers protected. Okay, the enemies, they want to come over the ridge. Let's keep our firing going here. Let's get some flanking action. It's time to surround this fucking defensive, terrified force. They are moving up like they're afraid, and we're gonna give them a good reason of why they should be afraid here. We're gonna wrap them up here with a nasty flank approach. We don't have enough cav to do this properly, but we'll make an effort of it. You need a shield and some javelins here, and effectively what we're gonna do is we're gonna approach the enemy at 2 different angles. We've got shock troops that'll be behind a shield wall. We've got cav that we're going to send behind the enemy. And then we'll have everybody sort of converge optimally at the same time. At least that's the plan, right? They're holding very defensively right on the ridge there, right on the edge. So this flurry of commands, that's just me moving our units up. I do it like writing my signature or an email, right? At this stage, it's very easy for me. The more you command 6, 7, 8 units, trust me, it will get easier. Our Fian champs are still scoring kills. I would bet a lot of their sharpshooters are actually out of ammo. That's why they're just holding their shields up. Unlike us, we conserved our enemy. The enemy tends to shoot off like a fucking 18-year-old on prom night. They have no patience at all, no discipline, and the night is over very quickly. Alright, so cav to the enemy's side and flank here. We're going to start to turn their formation. If they don't turn to them, of course, we'll just attack. The 4th Corps is spreading out on this side over here. The infantry divisions are both told to charge. That's the 1st and the 6th. And now we're going to start moving up this 4th Division with the 8th Corps as well. And the enemy is being surrounded here. It's just systematic. We're cutting off their retreat. If their crossbows start to retreat here, it's basically right into the path of our 4th Division. And here they come. They're retreating right in front of our archers. So this is going to be an utter massacre. Of course, I'm going to help prevent these fugitives from getting to safe ground. I hear them getting hit by arrows. Whack, whack, whack. They're just getting smoked. A few of them are attacking me, which is, that's foolish, right? They should be running for their lives. The death sounds in this game are so satisfying. The enemy's reforming again. They're being steamrolled. Our archers now are shooting them as they're retreating. It's like the Battle of Balls Bluff, the disgraceful fucking Union attempt to attack the Confederates, in which the Confederates totally ambushed the fuck out of the Union force. The Union force fled downhill. They were being shot in the back. Their troops tried to cross the river while they were being shot in the back. They all drowned. And just like this battle, it is a massacre. The Confederates just fucking chewed up these green Union troops. And I think this game, this battle here is over. They are all running crooked, like horizontal. I think they're trying to make the quickest way out of this battlefield as possible, because this was a massacre. The enemy is fleeing. You have won the battle. We get a nice little sunset here as we celebrate. We couldn't have lost even 100 guys in that battle. 52 guys we lost against, what was that? It was like 1,800. And we just sent them packing, gave them the boot. Well, neither of these battles were sort of how I anticipated them playing out, but nevertheless, hopefully you enjoyed this episode, this double battle episode here against the Valandians in the forest. As I said before, I fucking hate fighting in the forest. I discourage it. There are tactical advantages you can gain, but I find it so aesthetically unpleasing that I don't think most people should intentionally seek battles in the forest, right? You're going to be able to do much better tactics in the open field, much more visible tactics, right? That there was probably very difficult for people to see sometimes what I was even doing, even with me explaining it. But there you have it, a couple forest battles. We're trying to make this a complete tactical channel here on Tactical Enlightenment. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Tactical Enlightenment, right? If you want to see specific battles, though, or specific situations, specific siege for our Epic Siege series, friends, all you've got to do is put it down in the comments. Doesn't mean I'm going to meet every request. My wife and I, we do all kinds of paddling and gardening and other things in the summertime, but I'll do my best. I enjoy this shit. I'm having a fun time playing here. The channel's not monetized. If you've seen any ads, those are from Google. They're not from me. We're just having a good time here. And we're having fun playing this awesome game. So with all that said, please subscribe if you want to see more. Like I said, I appreciate you guys. Feel free to make comments. Hit that like button. That's always good for the channel. I appreciate it. And I will see you friends next time.